Welcome to Indie Beacon Radio, where creative souls can find help in marketing their creations. You can send questions for each show on Twitter using the hashtag IndieBeacon. Now sit back and enjoy learning about our guest for this show.
This is b-alan-bourgeois for Indie Beacon Radio, and I am with a representative of IngramSpark, which is a great organization for people who want to get their books published and distributed to a lot of different sources. They're very inexpensive and they have been around for a long time. So we have Josh Floyd with us, and he's going to tell us a little bit about what IngramSpark is all about.
All right. Thank you for having me. So IngramSpark we're actually in our 5th year. So this is our 5-year birthday is in July. And we were created as a platform for independent publishers and authors to access Ingram's distribution network. So traditionally, to have your book listed with Ingram, you'd have to have so many active titles, so much in sales per year, and there was just a couple of obstacles you had to go through. As a smaller independent publisher or author, it was really difficult to meet those obstacles. Well, with the invention of the IngramSpark platform, it gives authors and publishers of any title count the ability to enter Ingram's network and be distributed around the world.
Now, IngramSpark is part of Ingram, which is part of Lightning Source, correct?
So the way that all works is Ingram is our mother company, so Ingram is the big company, and then there's sister companies underneath, and IngramSpark is one of those sister companies, as is Lightning Source. So the way to think about it, Ingram is the wholesaler distributor. They're the ones that are getting the books out where they need to go. Lightning Source is our printing facility, so that's where the print on demand takes place. When you see these books being printed one at a time, that's taking place in a Lightning Source facility. And IngramSpark is a platform that allows you access to printing through Lightning Source so you can distribute through Ingram.
Okay, so when an author, an indie author who's got a single book, wants to get their book up on the system, what do they need to start with and go through the steps?
Yeah, so it's free to open an account. So the first thing you need to do is open an IngramSpark account. And then what you would need to do that is a credit card that you're going to put on file to use for your printing, and then a checking account that you're going to put on file for us to pay your direct deposits for your publisher compensation when books sell in the market. So that's really all you need to open an account. And then to start utilizing the platform, what you need is print-ready files. So you can go in, open an account. We have help videos, tutorials. We have our podcast now. We have our newsletter and blog. Lots of great information there for you as you're working through getting your book ready. But once you get that book print ready and the files ready, that's when you're really going to use this, because you're going to upload those files to your account. It's a one-time upload. And then after that, you're free to make the book available in whatever market you want, whether it's the US, the UK, Australia, Canada, Germany. We have 22 printing partners across the world, and we reach over 200 countries.
Now, you had mentioned that once you upload the files, and these are PDF files.
Correct.
Okay. You have the option as an author to choose whether it's just strictly print or print and ebooks. No audiobooks yet.
Not yet. We're working on it.
Okay. But at least print and ebook. And it's the same file that you would use for both of those aspects.
Well, not necessarily. So the print book is going to be your PDF formatted files, your interior block and your cover file. That's what you're going to upload for the print. Now for the ebook, so IngramSpark's basically almost a three-pronged service. One is ebook distribution, which we're talking about here. And for ebook files, a flowable EPUB is the best file to use, because what that does is it allows us to manipulate the files based on retailers' requirements for receiving data. So the beauty of using our service for ebooks is it's basically a one-stop shop for you to have 85 to 90 other ebook relationships. So for instance, when you upload your book with us, we can make it available at Apple, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kobo, another 80 retailers or so, and then Overdrive is coming on board as well for the library. So what that means is if you make a file correction, or you add something to the cover, or you make an edit within that file, instead of having to go to 85 different retailers and update that file, you can update it once with us, and we'll update it across the board to all the retailers.
Is Smashword one of those?
Smashword is a great company to use. We're not associated or partnered in any way.
Okay. But still having access to as many companies as you do is definitely well worth it.
Yeah, so that's one of the beauties of IngramSpark is we're non-exclusive. We're just another tool in your repertoire of your publishing business there. So you can use us and anybody else that you need to use to get your work done.
Okay. Now, on your website, before you even start uploading things, you do have tools to help people figure out what the cost of the printing is and how they should adjust the retail price or determine what the retail price is, correct?
Correct. So if you, without even opening an IngramSpark account, you can go to ingram-spark.com, click on resources and then tools, and we have a couple calculators listed there. One of the calculators is the printing and shipping calculator, and that's the calculator you're going to use to figure out what it costs you, the publisher or author, to purchase your own books at print plus shipping. So you'll go in, you'll open the calculator, you'll put in your trim size, your page count, all the good little book specs that we need right there, put in your quantity and the ship to address, and hit calculate, and we'll give you a rough estimate of what that order would cost you right then and there. The other calculator that's listed there is the publisher compensation calculator, and this goes into the third prong of our service, is distribution. So for free, you can make the book available to the market. We'll list the book at barnesandnoble.com, it'll be listed at amazon.com, and it'll be listed in Ingram's catalog, which reaches over 40,000 retailers and libraries across the world. So that's online retailers, museums, gift shops, school, university libraries. Anywhere you really see books are sold, typically they have an Ingram account and would have access to your title. So with the distribution part, the publisher compensation calculator is where you're going to actually put in your book specs, then you're going to put in your suggested retail price that you would like to see as the publisher, then you're going to put in your wholesale discount. Now this is important. The wholesale discount is what you, the publisher, are selling the book to Ingram, the wholesaler, so that they can turn around and sell that book to their customers when they order it. So if you're going to be approaching the independent bookstore or Barnes & Noble chain type stores or any kind of physical bookstore, you need to have a full trade discount, which is 53 to 55%. So 53% will give you a full trade. And what that means is that any retailer that purchases your book from Ingram is going to get their normal discount that they're used to getting on every book that they order from Ingram. So what that means is your book's going to be it will be priced and look the same as a Hachette or a Penguin Random House or Simon & Schuster. It's just another book that's out there in the world under the correct terms. Now, if you're not so concerned with getting your book on the shelf at a bookstore, and you're driving people to barnesandnoble.com or amazon.com or to bookstores' websites to buy your book, then you can get away with a shorter discount. So you can actually go all the way down to 30% if you like. So really, when you set that discount, think about what your marketing strategy is. Am I going after bookstores? If I am going after physical bookstores, I need to have a full trade discount, and the book needs to be returnable because that is standard terms for the bookstores. If I'm not going after the bookstores and I'm driving people online to buy the book, I can get away with a shorter discount and non-returnable, because when an online retailer sells the book, they're selling to an end reader. When a bookstore buys your book, they still haven't sold it to the end reader. It's a speculative buy that's going on their shelf. So they've invested in this book that they have to sell to make their money back.
Now, for any of the authors that are listening and are totally confused by that, don't worry. There's a lot more tools out there to help you understand all of that. One of the key issues you brought up was returnables.
Yes.
A lot of authors don't understand what that means. So if you could just touch upon that a little bit, give more clarification.
Yeah, so in the book industry, especially with independent bookstores, returnable is a big deal, because what that is, as I mentioned earlier, they've taken a gamble. They're buying the book to put it on their shelves to hopefully sell, and they've used their money out of their back pocket to make that purchase. So they are invested in this product and need it to sell. So if that book does not sell, the bookstores need the ability to be able to return it to recoup some of that money that they spent on it so they can buy another book that will sell. And so in our world, as the publisher with IngramSpark, you get to set that status. If you want to be returnable, you can be returnable, but just know that book can come back. So when it's returnable, that book can come back at any time from anywhere, and you would be charged. There's a process. So if a book comes back, you're going to be invoiced the wholesale price that Ingram paid for it. So roundabout numbers, say if it's a $10 retail price with a 50% discount, that means every time that book is ordered and Ingram has to get it from us, they pay $5 for that book. But if that book was to come back, Ingram's going to say, hey, I want my $5 back for the book that was returned, and we invoice the publisher. So you need to be very conscious of what you're doing when you're going non-returnable versus returnable. And you can change. So you can start out non-returnable, see where your market is, and if all of a sudden you have bookstores that want your book and want to bring it in, you can go in and change it to returnable to fit that market. It's just something to be aware of.
So help clarify for authors, especially the independent authors, when a book is returned, that is a separate charge It's not applied to their account in receivables. It's a whole separate thing.
Well, it's a separate thing, but typically what we do is we take the money that you would be invoiced there out of the publisher compensation that you're going to get paid for the sales. So typically what we'll do is, you still have sales in the market, so we're going to pay you. So we're going to take that money out of what we're paying you before we invoice you. If we don't owe you any money, then we would invoice you. But if we owe you money, we can take it out of the money we owe you.
Okay. From a perspective of the way to have a book returnable, there's different ways you can do that. One of them is a full return. One of them is also strippable. Explain what strippable means.
Well, okay, so when you go with IngramSpark, you got your 3 return options. So you've got returnable, destroy, returnable, deliver, and then non-returnable. Non-returnable, the books can't come back. We won't accept returns. Return destroy means when we receive that book, you're still going to get invoiced. In that scenario, I gave you that $5 that Ingram paid, but we're going to take the book, break it down, recycle it, and destroy it. In the return deliver scenario, we receive the book, we're going to charge you that $5, and then we're going to mail the book back to you when we receive them at a $2 per unit cost. So now you would be out $7 on a return, whereas if it was return destroy, you would be out the $5. Non-returnable, the book's not coming back.
Okay. So either way, if you're paying for the book, you might as well pay for the $2 shipping, because then you can turn around and sell the book yourself.
True. So you can use that book as an ARC, you can use it as a giveaway, you can use it as you can resell it yourself, depending on the shape that it's in. So something to be aware of is that book has lived a hard life. Even though it didn't sell, that book was ordered, it was printed, it was shipped out of our warehouse to UPS, it was processed and received by UPS, delivered by UPS, received by the store in the back of house, brought out to the front. And luckily, and hopefully, it's been thumbed through on the shelves. The book doesn't sell. The bookstore throws it back in the receiving room back of house. It gets kicked around a little bit, finally gets packed up, sent back to Ingram. Our receiving team takes it, breaks it down, sees that it's return deliver. They repack it back up, send it back to UPS, and by the time it's getting to you, that book has lived a really hard life, and you're like, what has happened to this book that did not sell? It's been on a journey.
I understand. We're going to take a quick break, and then we'll come back and we'll have a couple questions.
Hello, Texas authors. My name is Randy James, coming to you from my Carrollton recording studio, where I spend time writing and producing commercials for my radio endorsement clients, as well as my private freelance clients. I'd like the opportunity to help you sell more books with a commercial like this and get listeners of Dear Texas Radio excited about your title, all at a special introductory price, available to members of the Texas Association of Authors. Call or text 214-762-1942. That's 214-762-1942. Texas Authors is proud to be a supporter of IndieBeacon.com, a website that supports indie authors from around the world. If you are looking for help with marketing or getting published, IndieBeacon.com can assist you. Years of experience by the founder is available to any indie author looking for help. IndieBeacon.com, a place for creative souls to find help in marketing their creations.
Authors, are you looking for the perfect place to publish your new ebooks? Look no further than ebg247.com/authors-services. Let us help with editing, cover designs, web banner designs, even formatting and conversion. Our professional services can take your book from no sales to today's top seller. That's ebg247.com/authors-services. Don't go it alone. Let us handle everything for you. At EBG, you always get a quality service, all at an everyday affordable price. It's the web's best place to create your new ebook.
Welcome to Indie Beacon Radio, where creative souls can find help in marketing their creations. You can send questions for each show on Twitter using the hashtag IndieBeacon. Now sit back and enjoy learning about our guest for this show.
And this is b-alan-bourgeois with Indie Beacon Radio. We are back with Josh, who's going to talk about formats. Ingram has originally started off with the basics. Your 8.5 by 5.5, 6 by 9s, but you've grown over the years to include other formats. Tell us a little bit about those.
Yeah, so we have a multitude of formats to choose from. And as you mentioned, we have our standard trim size, or trade trim sizes of 5.5 by 8.5, 6 by 9, 8.5 by 11, 7 by 10. But we also have the ability to do hardcover or paperback. And in the hardcover, you can do a hardcover cloth with a dust jacket. You can do a hardcover, just regular case laminate. You can do a case laminate with a dust jacket. You can do a case laminate that's either a gloss fill or a matte fill. You can do on, we just added landscape printing, so now we have landscape available, and then we also have our ebook service as well. So you can get your book available in hardcover, paperback, large print, ebook, whatever format your readers may want.
Okay, so I need to stop you because you're using terms that a lot of authors may not understand, okay? So let's talk about the cover, okay? You said a cloth cover versus...
a case laminate cover. So
case laminate means what?
Case laminate is like what you, I know we're on the radio, but what you see here in front of you. So case laminate is just your typical hardcover title or hardcover book that does not have a dust jacket on it. It's just it's just a hard, firm gloss, like a textbook, a hardcover book. And then with the landscape, that's actually where you turn it sideways. So it's instead of an 8.5 by 11, it's 11 by 8.5.
And those are usually good for art books or
children's
books.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. And you mentioned that you can have the laminate as well as a cover, which I've not seen very many of those. But
yeah, I mean, it drives up the cost of the printing of the book because now you've added another piece with the cover. But if you wanted to, you could do that.
Okay. Now we just mentioned art books and tablecloth or table books. You have different types of paper that are available for people, correct?
Yes, we run two stocks, a 50-pound and a 70-pound, and we have 3 different levels of color interior. So we have what is really our basic standard color, which is done on a 50-pound paper. So if the book has real light illustrations in it and not a lot of illustrations throughout, you can get away with using that, but it's a thinner paper, so there is some bleed through to it. So the next step up would be our standard 70, which is an inkjet print done on a 70-pound paper. It's a thicker paper, so it hides that bleed. And then we have our premium, which is our cat daddy. So that's for anybody that's doing recipe books, cookbooks, art book, something that needs more ink laid on the paper. It's still a 70-pound paper, but it's more ink coming down on it, and that's our premium color.
And more of a glossy type finish, or is plain?
It's not glossy. It's all of our we're flat, matte there on the paper, so there's no gloss or coated finishes, but it lays enough ink that it kind of almost gives it that feel of coating, but it's not. It's definitely not coated paper.
Okay. Now, in reference to the actual print, you have different ways of getting that rush through the system. Your standard is about 2 weeks, correct?
Yeah, so depending on how fast you need the books, obviously you can pay more to have them printed faster. So typically the economy, which is the basic standard service, is 5 business days to print, plus whatever shipping method you choose. And then it goes from there. You can do rush, express. So if you need the books really quick and you're willing to pay more, we can get them printed quicker. And then there's different shipping options too. So there's obviously USPS, and then there's UPS and next day air and air freight. So depending on how fast you need those books and how much you're willing to spend, you can get faster print times and faster ship times.
Right. So I want to clarify for the people, when they choose an express print, that is separate from the shipping, correct?
Correct. Yeah. So the express print means you've sped up the printing time, but still based on your shipping option, it's still going to be that. So you may have take the printing from 5 business days down to 2, but you're still relying on whatever shipping method you chose to get the books there.
Okay. Recently, CreateSpace has chosen to back away from doing services. Are you guys picking up the slack for them, or have you made an arrangement with them for printing, or what's happening?
So no, we're still doing what we've always done. We print and distribute books. That's what we're really good at. So I mean, always still think of us as your back of house crew. We're the guys on the tow motors, printing, picking, packing, shipping those books, freeing you to create, market, and sell your title. So as we grow, like I said, it's our 5th birthday this July. So we're still in our infancy. So we learn and grow and add new services every day. And so if we see a service that we can do that's manageable and benefits our publishers, we will add it. But we're not just going to throw services out there just to have services for people to choose from.
Now, one of the services is more on Ingram's side, and as we're sitting around a whole bunch of books, different booths and stuff, is that part of IngramSpark or just strictly Ingram?
That is what you're seeing around you is our distribution services. So these are the publishers who are of a certain size and are paying Ingram to represent their books in the market. So that is what we call Ingram Publisher Services, which is now 2 Rivers, and that's the distribution side of the company, which is no relation to IngramSpark.
Okay. For those that are getting into all this, what kind of words of advice do you have for them?
If you're going to tackle this on your own, so if you're going to tackle this on your own, it's quality over quantity. Invest in your editing, invest in your cover design, invest in your book formatting. Don't invest in a 5 or 10,000 unit print run that all of a sudden has a typo or an edit on page 70 and you're sitting on 10,000 books that needs to be updated. So invest in the quality of the work instead of the quantity of the work.
One of the things I've always recommended to the authors is the fact that you guys can print just one book, or you can print 1,000 books.
Correct.
And of course, there's discounts depending on how many they print and stuff. So even for that first book that you upload, you can get that one copy to make sure it's all correct before you approve for release, correct?
Yeah, so it's print on demand. So you can go all the way down to 1 unit, you can do 12 units, you can do 12,000 units. It depends on what you need. And I always recommend, so when you do a book with IngramSpark and you upload it and we process the files and they pass specifications, you receive an email that has an attached PDF for you to look at. So you can look at the free PDF. But I always recommend folks, before you make that book available for printing or available to the market, order yourself 1, 2, or 3 copies. You're going to have to pay the shipping anyway. So I always tell folks, if you're going to order 1, you might as well get 2 or 3 because you're going to have to pay the shipping anyway. And that way you can see the book like 2 or 3 times coming off the printer. But get that, review it, look it over, make sure there's no mistakes, no editing, make sure it all looks good. And then once you have done that, you go into your account, you hit approve for printing, and you can start printing that book right there that day.
Now, you're pricing to upload these files for just a print. You have your price for the guts, and then you have a price for the cover, correct?
The way it works with IngramSpark, it's $49 to upload a print book, $25 to upload an ebook. If you do them both at the same time, we'll waive the $25 setup fee. And then after you uploaded the book and make it available for print, if you make an order of 50 or more units, and it has to be at least 50 units on that one order in the first 60 days, we'll credit you back that $49. And then, if you ever come see us at a show, we always run promotions and have codes that you can use. So always come by the booth and stop by and ask for a promo code.
Okay.
And typically our promo codes will waive all those setup fees.
Great. So one of the things we teach our authors is they've got to plan out their marketing strategy. Just because the book's done doesn't mean it's ready to be sent out to the world. You have to lay it out so that people learn about your book in a concise way. One of those options is an advanced catalog that you guys do. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so the listing in the advanced catalog, the advanced is a catalog that Ingram sends to independent bookstores and retailers so they can learn about the new books coming out from publishers. So when you sign up for an advanced catalog, your book will be listed in this catalog along with HarperCollins and Penguin Random House titles. And so what that is literally that. The bookstores receive the catalog, they go through and thumb through, and they get to see all the titles that are in there and pick out the ones they like, and that's how they learn. One of the ways they learn about new books that are coming out in the market. We also, and that's about the extent of our marketing and sales, but what we do is we have the experts. So if you go to IngramSpark.com, click on resources and click on the experts, what that is, that's a list of companies that we have vetted. We know they're not predatory, we know they're legit, they're partners of ours. You can get to their site from our site, and they offer all the services that we don't. So you'll find editing, you'll find cover design, you'll find interior design, you'll find full service companies who can get you from manuscript to completed book. You'll find marketing and publicity. So if you need help trying to get that book out there and you want to invest some money in marketing, we have companies on there like Where the Writers Win, Smith Publicity, JKS Communications. Those are companies that can help you do the marketing of your title into the industry.
Okay. And anything else that a new author should know?
Yeah, you need to have, and one of the things I wanted to say earlier when you're talking about what's the most important, if you're going to do this on your own without going to a service provider or somebody that can help you with these creative services, and you're going to go this route alone, I highly recommend getting yourself a graphic designer who understands InDesign. It's so important and to have those books files ready for print, because that's the only way you're really going to be able to use the platform. And there's nothing more frustrating than submitting your files, having them rejected, submitting your files, having them rejected. So if you can work with a professional designer and have more than one, because you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket. So I recommend having at least 2, because God forbid something happens to your designer and you're left high and dry. You want to have at least 2 of each, designer and editor, that you can rely on and build your own little network. So think of yourself as a business. You are a walking, talking business, but you can't do everything. You may not be good at sales. You may not be good at editing. You may not be good at graphic art. So get people that can help you do that for your business.
Great. Well, I thank you very much. And a quick note for our listeners. Remember, on indiebeacon.com, there is a directory of services for all those people that you do need to make your book successful. And thank you, Josh, for being with us.
Well, thank you for having me. Best of luck out there.
Thank you for listening to Indie Beacon Radio, where creative souls can find help in marketing their creations. To learn more about Indie Beacon services, to be a guest on the show, or to advertise on our show, please visit our website at indiebeacon.com.